Good evening. First tonight, the area around Havre Park and Grève d'Azet has been identified as Jersey's most vulnerable location for future flooding, with some residents saying they've already noticed the higher sea levels in recent years. There are now plans to reclaim land to protect homes and businesses. The project could cost around £100 million, although there are fears that doing nothing would cost much more. Rory O'Regan has this.
Taking matters into his own hands. After Mike noticed more waves were splashing into his garden, he built his own contraption to keep out the water. And just up the road, something similar. Sandbags left out permanently ahead of the worsening weather.
Last year, for example, we've seen it can get quite dangerous, so you get quite a lot of flooding in the driveway when you have kind of the combination of high winds and high tides. So yeah, it's definitely a concern. We've not had anything too major in terms of accidents yet, but yeah, it's definitely a concern going forward.
Jersey's southeastern coast is hugely popular with both tourists and islanders alike, but it's the bailiwick's most vulnerable spot for future flooding, and the consequences could be huge.
For, say, a 1 in 200 year event, the potential losses here is about £1.3 billion. And that's not just property damage, that's vehicle damage, it's impact on the economy, it's impact on people's livelihoods, it's the mental impact, the health impacts and so on.
The government is currently assessing ways to reduce this risk of flooding. The first is to do nothing, but that's unlikely. The second option is to increase the height of the current wall. They're also looking at reclaiming land to build new defences. And then the preferred option, to reclaim land but also keep the wall so there are 2 sea barriers. These last 2 options would involve creating a new promenade for pedestrians and cyclists. The project will start at La Colette and go along the coast through Havre Park, the Dyke Slipway, and end here at the Charrier Slipway. The States estimates it'll cost around £100 million to complete, and if all goes to plan, work should start in 2028 and take about 5 years to finish. But any changes to the area could disrupt business. Hooray Henry's has been told it might have to relocate.
I'm not adverse to change as long as change is for the good, and if it is going to work, then yeah, of course, because people don't want their properties ruined and damaged by floods. And also, if there's going to be an opportunity to develop gardens here for the young people in the area to use, then I think it's a good thing.
Images showing what each option would look like could be published before the end of the year. A potentially massive project, but one many islanders want.
Rory O'Regan with our report there. Well, next, the cost of treating people with diabetes in Guernsey has risen significantly because of an increasing number with a high BMI and complications from the disease. That's according to a new report. Now, the prescribing support units say the price of anti-diabetic medications for 2023 was over 13% higher than the previous year, totalling over £1.4 million. Guernsey's Coast Guard and air search plane have helped rescue a stranded yacht twice in the same week. The lone sailor was picked up by a Jersey lifeboat last week and then again after putting out another distress call at the weekend as it was drifting off the west coast of Guernsey. The boat was eventually towed back to France. Now, specialists are in Guernsey this week to assess the condition of the Castle Cornet Bridge. Part of it is being eroded when the tide comes in, so concrete experts inspect it every year to make sure it remains safe for pedestrians to use. Now, it's widely expected that income tax will be increased when Guernsey's budget is unveiled tomorrow morning. It comes as the forecast budget surplus for 2024 was turned into an expected deficit of £24 million. Roisin Gorson was outside of the States earlier and she sent us this.
This is nothing new. We've known for a little while that the island's finances are getting increasingly stretched, and so far in this political term at least, there appears to have been little will to tackle it. GST has been thrown out, a proposal to increase property tax has been thrown out, and even last year a proposal to raise income tax by 2 or 3% was also thrown out. So what has changed? Well, in short, it's the financial outlook, because we've gone from a projected surplus of £11 million to a projected deficit of £24 million. And that deficit will rise to £46 million when you take into account things like the losses made by certain states' trading companies like the dairy and the reports, and also the income and expenditure of social security. Now, this is why it's widely expected that these rises to personal income tax will come in when the budget's announced tomorrow. And it's something that's already happening in the Isle of Man. They put a 2% increase on in April this year to raise much-needed funds for their healthcare.
Most people, if they can see the benefits of that taxation, will accept it, and perhaps reluctantly, but we'll see that. What is difficult is when you tax people more and they seem to see less being provided by government. And I think that's a struggle for all our communities. It's that fairness that really has to be instilled.
And fairness has been the key for many tax debates in the past. How to raise money for the benefit of everybody without putting too much of a financial burden on the few. And Policy and Resources tomorrow will reveal just how it plans to do that and redress the balance in the island's finances. Roisin Gorson, ITV News.
Now then, despite the drizzle, hundreds of runners took to the streets of St Helier yesterday as they conquered the Jersey Marathon. The men's race was won by the current Guernsey Marathon champion, Guillaume Roule. Meanwhile, the women's winner was Dawn Godwin from Bracknell, who picked up the title for the first time.
Totally buzzing the whole way round. I was here last year and came third, so I came back to try and win it. You're never a winner until you've crossed that finish line. So, oh my God, I am buzzing.
And finally, this evening, if you were at the autumn show held at Trinity Showground at Jersey at the weekend, you may have met Kevin, whose giant veg have earned him 11 world records, including the world's longest radish and heaviest chilli. Lewis Andrews went to meet him and some of the others who took part in the show.
So we've just weighed the giant pumpkin, and it comes in at 156.5 kilos.
Big, bold and big once again.
19 pounds and 7 ounces.
Jersey's autumn show sees local growers display the fruits of their labour, including Richard with his prize-winning pumpkin.
This is really sort of 8 weeks' growth to grow it up to this size. So it's one of the fastest growing plants in the world.
Surprisingly, the food could yet get bigger. Kevin, better known internationally as Mr. Giant Veg, has broken 11 world records for his grows and flew in to give the locals some advice.
In terms of growing giant vegetables, it takes a tremendous amount of commitment, having an understanding partner, and also time, effort, and growing the children of our future to learn about sustainability. And if they have a giant vegetable in their hands, that's music to my ears.
So we've got some incredible ingredients here. I mean, look at that parsnip, but this is the record-breaking squash. Look at that. Wow. If we go along here, we've got veg that I can't even lift. I don't know if that says more about me or the marrow, but... Oh. But whatever the size of your veg, this event celebrates the incredible produce we have on island and inspires the next generation of growers. And it wasn't just foodstuffs, as our beautiful Jersey girls gave their best catwalk. Watching on was 5-year-old Thea, who was keen to show off her own prize-winning entry.
This is a green bean that I picked, and this is what I grew in my veg patch, and this is my big pumpkin.
The Lieutenant Governor was impressed.
Good gracious me, that is a pumpkin.
Making it a room full of proud Jersey beans. Lewis Andrews, ITV News.
Right, let's see if it's giant veg growing weather, shall we? Here is Lily with all the details.
For today and tomorrow, ITV Channel Islands weather, sponsored by Lloyds Bank International.
Hello there, very good evening to you. Well, we did have some bright and sunny spells at times today, but showers are posing a risk as we head throughout this week. We could see some heavy and thundery ones at times overnight and into tomorrow. Feeling quite breezy as well. Tomorrow the winds are forecast to pick up. Then as we reach the end of the week, temperatures will dip slightly, but we'll see some more settled, dry and bright conditions as well. The reason for that is low pressure systems are moving away. Storm Kirk expected to avoid us for the most part. And by Friday, high pressure is is then taking over, keeping at bay the wet weather and giving us something a touch more settled. But back to you tonight then, there'll be a moderate to fresh breeze from a southerly direction. Showers will clear, but then the wet weather will return as we approach dawn, with minimum temperatures of around 14 and 15 degrees. Tomorrow looking like some bright and sunny spells, especially in the morning, but still the chance of a shower. That risk increases as we head into the afternoon, and some of those showers could be on the heavy side, maybe with some thunder too. Breezier tomorrow, winds around the fresh force 5 to strong force 6, but similar field temperature-wise, we're expecting highs of 17 to 18 degrees.
ITV Channel Islands weather, sponsored by Lloyds Bank International.
And that is where we will leave it for this evening. Megan will be back tomorrow morning just after 6 in Good Morning Britain. And until then, from everyone on the late team, good night.
Yeah, this isn't your average gang drive-by. The young nurse was caught in the crossfire.